Coming up on SBU TV, we learn more about the search for St. Bonaventure's next president, and 2 former members of Congress visited campus to call young people to action. Hello and welcome to SBU TV. I'm Ryan McDonough.
And I'm Brittany Slomba. St. Bonaventure's Board of Trustees has announced the official committee for the presidential search. Natalie Kucko spoke with its student representative to find out more about the process.
After the announcement of Sister Margaret's resignation in January, St. Bonaventure's Board of Trustees sent a campus-wide email last week updating the selection process for a new president. The trustees are in the midst of gathering as much information as possible to contribute to a successful search for the university's 21st president. In the email, Trustees Chair Robert Doherty said, quote, "We want the committee to be clearly representative of stakeholders, in touch with our current student body, and knowledgeable of the future we're working to create together." One of the select few is sophomore Haylei John, the only student representative on the committee who is excited to receive the nomination.
A few days later, I was informed that my nomination was accepted, so I was very excited. I definitely wasn't expecting this.
The university has established a timeline for the selection process, with a search launched publicly by this June and a new president hopefully named by the end of December. John emphasized her role in the selection process.
Above all, I think that it's important for not only me to realize, but the rest of the campus, that it's not me as an individual on the committee. I'm representing the student voice, so I'm not just giving my viewpoints throughout the searching and interviewing processes. I'm speaking for the student body.
The committee will meet next week for the first time, and John believes the presidential interviewees have a standard to meet.
In terms of a positive view of campus, I'm just looking for a strong leader that gets along with the students, makes an effort to connect with the students while also handling business.
For SBU TV, I'm Natalie Kucko.
According to the trustees' timeline, the committee hopes to name a search firm by next week.
2 former members of Congress visited SBU this week. Vinnie Bellardini followed Congress to Campus event.
Former House Republican and SBU alum Jim Walsh joined former House Democrat Richard Stallings for 2 days of forums, class visits, and interviews at St. Bonaventure University. They addressed several issues throughout the week, including the presidential election, foreign policy, and student debt. But the message both former congressmen wanted to deliver most was the need for young people to enter public service.
We need young people to come in after us and take up the baton and run the race and keep this really amazing machine of democracy running, and that's the message.
To make this happen, we need new blood. We need young folks involved. We need college students. We need kids that are involved in their communities that want to make a difference in this world. Public service is a very, very important process and concept, and without it, our nation will suffer.
Hearing both of their stories, how they started, it reminds you that anybody can make it in public service. Seeing these 2 men and where they came from and their backgrounds, a former alumni that was a congressman, that maybe some of us here at St. Bonaventure can aspire to the levels that these 2 great men have.
With the current race for our next president looking more like reality TV than reality, it's never been more important for America's youth to engage in the political process that runs our lives. For SBU TV, I'm Vinnie Bellardini.
Walsh still works in Washington, D.C. as a government affairs counselor, and Stallings is an adjunct professor at the College of Southern Utah.
Could school closings in the Buffalo area impact St. Bonaventure's enrollment? Jackie Roberts found out.
The announcement started in 2014.
With Catholic school attendance dramatically falling during the past decade, the Buffalo Diocese says this was a decision they simply had to make.
Save our school, that's what students at Holy Angels Academy are saying tonight after school announced they will close their doors for good.
And just last week, we learned yet another Buffalo Catholic high school will graduate its last class this June. St. Bonaventure's Vice President for Enrollment said with the pool of Catholic high school students from Buffalo shrinking, the university might have to adjust its recruitment techniques.
We do enroll many students from the Buffalo area, from the Catholic high schools.
Some of those changes include adding initiatives to appeal to a more varied group of students, so the university can fill freshman dorms like this one for the upcoming years.
Looking at things like military-aligned initiatives, looking at intercollegiate athletics. How do we expand roster sizes and/or teams?
Oddly enough, Bonaventure's numbers this year haven't reflected the low enrollment and closings of Catholic high schools.
So far, we are running considerably ahead in deposits, more than 30 deposits ahead of last year.
Valento says those numbers are nice, but what really matters are confirmations. For now, Bonaventure hasn't been two-phased, but if enrollment keeps dropping for Catholic schools in Buffalo, more changes may need to come. With SBU TV, I'm Jackie Roberts.
Approximately 220 students accepted to St. Bonaventure will be on campus this weekend for an admissions event.
Have you ever believed a satire article? Dakota Ward looks into why some people believe everything on the internet is true.
Saturday Night Live recently released a digital short making fun of people that are racist voting for Trump. Many people watching through social media thought it was a real commercial, commenting, "This was pathetic. I wonder who these groups voted for in the past. Since when did SNL start making serious political ads? And I'm still voting for Trump." Saturday Night Live uses satire to gain viewership around the world. Satire news websites like The Onion and the Daily Courant make many people think that they are telling the truth. Carole McNall is a journalism professor and explains how satire media continues to stay in business.
It's a kind of commentary that gets some legal protection, even if the target of the satire goes, "How could you say that about me?" It comes into a long line of, this is part of why we have the First Amendment.
But why do people believe in satire news?
With the presidential race, we've had enough bizarre stuff happen already that, oh, hey, it's kind of believable that somebody would do this. And sometimes I think it's because people want to believe what they're seeing.
Just remember, don't be too gullible when reading or watching anything on the internet.
And live from New York, it's Saturday night.
With SBU TV, I'm Dakota Ward.
Just remember, don't believe everything you see on the internet.
From razors to dry cleaning, women are being charged more for the same goods and services as men. The pink tax, or the extra money that females pay for the same products as males, has been confirmed by recent studies. The New York City Department of Consumer Affairs surveyed almost 800 products and found in 42% of cases, women paid more for the same goods. Women pay 7% more for toys and accessories, 4% more for children's clothing, 8% more for adult clothing, 13% more for personal care products, 8% more for senior and home health care products, totaling an average of almost 8% more than men. The pink tax starts young. For example, these scooters are the same make and model, yet the boys' version is $25 cheaper. Ladies, you may want to start browsing the men's aisle to avoid the pink tax.
The milder winter in the city of Olean may be bringing more benefits than just warmth. Lian Bunny has the story.
The lack of snow and cold could save the city of Olean about $200,000, according to Mayor William Aiello.
The milder weather means less damage and usage on equipment. It also means less money spent on oil, repairs, and gas.
If we have to, if we get snow during the evening, crews have to be called in, to plow the streets, to keep the streets open. And you probably noticed on North Union Street here, snow is pushed to the center of the street, and then there's the removal. So it's hard to do that removal during the daytime when there's a lot of traffic. So we have streets come out in the evening that'll do a lot of that removal.
The city auditor says Olean spent about $30,000 on the streets department in overtime last year, and this year it spent about $13,000.
The worst month, I think, historically is January and February. So barring any unforeseen cruel weather in March, our overtime is probably going to be, we'll save $15,000 in overtime.
Saradin also says last year the city spent over $200,000 on salt. This year it spent less than half of that. City officials predict a total savings of about $300,000 this fiscal year. The mayor says it will go into the city's fund balance, which is at $3.3 million.
The fund balance is the difference between all of the revenue that you take in and what you've spent. So whatever we realize in these savings will increase our fund balance.
Saradin says the City Council could choose to use some of the funds balance to purchase more equipment or address some of the structures that need to be repaired. It will be a topic of discussion in the next 2 months. With SBU TV, I'm Lian Bunny.
The city auditor also says officials hope for continued mild weather to finish the construction on North Union Street as quickly as possible.
A house is not a home anymore for SBU students, after many are being forced to live in on-campus dorms and apartments.
Right now, the houses on Main Street in Allegheny are filled with students from St. Bonaventure University, but by this time next year, this may not be the case. The decision was made in late spring to restrict juniors as well as sophomores and freshmen to on-campus living. The change will be implemented in the fall of 2016. Many believe that this decision was made in an effort to aid the school's financial difficulties due to low enrollment. Head of Residential Housing, Nichole Gonzalez, weighed in on this topic.
If you're asking if I bought into it or agree with it, I definitely do. For a programmatic standpoint alone, we are a very small community. We're very highly residential as it is. We have a large capacity on campus with infrastructure. So I think it makes a lot of sense programmatically to keep students on campus as long as possible.
Gonzalez may feel this change will be positive, but some have a different idea, like student Emily Doherty.
Tuition is expensive pretty much now everywhere you go. So making it so you're required to pay, you're required to live on campus and pay these fees, it does make it difficult, and I think that it could change a lot of prospective students' choice when coming to the university. They might choose to go to a state school or somewhere that is cheaper.
While it's about $8,000 per year to live in an on-campus apartment, off-campus housing is only about $4,000, making it a cheaper option for students. While this new policy helps the university financially, students are being forced to pay more. Many believe that this decision was made solely because the university is losing extreme amounts of money.
I think students should have the opportunity to live off campus, one, to possibly save some money, and two, to get that real-life experience of living on your own.
Will St. Bonaventure University's new housing policy be essential or detrimental to student life? For SBU TV, this is Sarah Vaden.
Even students' nightlife may be affected by the housing decision.
If you think people only stream their movies nowadays, Nate Discavage found out the days of the video store may not be over.
With the closing of Blockbuster, many people thought it was the end of video rental stores. Few people know about the new company that has come to take its place.
Here at the video rental store, Family Video, you can check out all kinds of movies like the one you just saw from the new James Bond movie Spectre at cheap, affordable prices.
Founded in 1978, Family Video has grown to become the largest video rental store in the United States. With over 7,000 stores in 19 states, Family Video continues to thrive in a world filled with Netflix, streaming, and on-demand movies. The main thing they credit for their success? Customer service.
It's mainly the customer service. You don't get it with Redbox, you don't get it with really any other provider at all, except for us, because we actually want to talk about movies. Everyone here gets to enjoy their job whenever they're working, and more importantly, there's a lot of nostalgia for people our age now that got to go to video stores when they were kids.
Another factor that routinely brings in customers is the ability to come in and see their options. With hundreds of movies to choose from, being in the store can help make the decision a little bit easier for shoppers.
Kind of like seeing the visual movies and actually being able to read the descriptions of them. Sometimes on Netflix, it'll have that it's 5 stars, but then they're actually not very good at all. But I like actually visually getting a movie, seeing what's it about and everything.
Despite their streaming ability, companies like Netflix are limited in regards to movies, whereas Family Video is able to keep a large stock of movies on hand.
It's the only movie in movie store in town, and it does have a big selection.
For SBU TV, I'm Nate Discavage.
I can't tell you the last time I went to a video store, Brittany, but I might have to check out Family Video.
Me too, Ryan.
Well, that's all for us here at SBU TV. I'm Ryan McDonough.
And I'm Brittany Slomba. Thanks for watching.